was on a ship which was doing the Suez Canal during the Saddam Hussein times. And Saddam Hussein had said that he's going to bomb a cement carrier and block the Suez Canal. And we were carrying 60,000 tons of cement through the Suez. There is one fact irrefutable. In 2024, the number of suicides at sea actually went over the number of accident fatalities. We lowered food and water onto their boat. We told them exactly their position on the chart. This is where you guys are and this is where you need to do. And they were like, yeah, okay, thanks so much. Do you guys have chocolates? We can pay for them. It's like, we stopped the damn ship for you.
Love listening to Tech Tales? Be sure to smash that subscribe button so you never miss a seaworthy story, fascinating insight or incredible behind the scenes moment. Climb aboard, stay shipshape and catch every episode fresh off the boat the second it drops. Ahoy ahoy to all you smooth sailors out there and welcome aboard the Deck Tales podcast. I'm your host and captain Sammy Catlin and this is where we dive headfirst into life at sea. From stunning destinations to unexpected storms, our guests have stories that will make you laugh, gasp and maybe even shed a tear. Whether you're a seasoned sea dog or simply curious about life on board, Deck Tales is your boarding pass to a world of nautical narratives. My guest today is Mr. Samarth Sinha, aka Captain Sams. He survived hurricane-force storms, dodged pirates, handled 100,000-ton ships, and once had to sail blind using the wind just to stay off the rocks. With 36 years at sea and stories that sound straight out of a movie, Captain Sams is a modern-day sailor, mentor, and accidental Instagram seafluencing sensation, bringing real life at sea to the surface. So let's anchor up and dive right in. Hello, Samarth.
Hi, Sam. How are you doing?
Very well, thank you. I realised just ahead of the call that my headphones weren't working. I don't think it's the headphones. I just bought these for 50 quid.
I whacked my sons.
Well, because I've always had a wired pair of headphones, but they didn't come pre-charged. So as soon as I got in, I was like trying to test them and then put them on the super fast charger. So hopefully these don't disconnect. And then I spent 5 minutes just trying to turn them on. And they don't turn on if you're trying to charge them at the same time, which is...
Yeah.
Anyway, let's start again. Hello, Samarth.
Right on.
Hello.
Hi, Sam. How are you doing today?
I'm very good, thank you. All technical glitches and errors aside, we managed to get on the call in time.
Absolutely. We've been trying to get this forever now.
I just remembered I messaged you over Instagram a while ago, and
Actually.
you were all set and happy to come on and tell us some stories and share some of your experiences, but then you were delayed in getting home. I believe it was your replacement, your cover, suffered a bereavement, and that meant you couldn't leave essentially.
Yeah.
So
and his family. Yeah.
Condolences to your colleague, but just out of interest, how long were you at sea, your last contract? Before you
I was there for like just under 5 months. 5 days shy of 5 months.
Oh, okay. There's me thinking you were on board for like a year and a half.
No. Well, in today's date, you're not allowed to be on the same ship for more than 11 months with the new MLC. So try as you might, you have to get back home no more than 11 months later. Everybody, irrespective.
Irrespective. So if oversights and everything like that aren't met or managed, what would happen if you were like a day over those 11 months?
You would require special permission from the flag with solid reasons. So the normal crew contracts are like 9 months each still in today's date. So anybody who gets to 12 months, the office is like, get him off.
Well, you could sue them or something along those lines?
No, if it comes to that, yeah, but nobody really does.
Yeah.
Because in the end, you want employment again. So you don't really want to sue your employer.
Yeah, don't bite the hand that feeds.
Actually.
But for those who don't know, tell us a bit about yourself.
Okay, I'm a simple sailing master. I am working on freighters. I've been out at sea for a total of 36 years now. I started way back in 89, before there was GPS, before there was satellite navigation. And I'm like old-time sailors kind of thing. I
Old
tried
school.
quitting. Yeah, old school. I tried quitting sailing 3 times, but I landed back again. I have not left much to regret in the sense I've tried out whatever I want to try out. I've done whatever I want to do. Now I'm actually enjoying sailing. And the reason why I'm sitting here talking to you guys today is that during COVID, I started posting on Instagram, and somehow I got really popular as an educator and a mentor.
Well,
And
as you call
oh,
yourself, you call yourself a seafluencer,
yeah.
which I
Okay,
haven't
so
heard before.
that's
You're
the
the first
reason.
person. You're the first person I've seen with that title.
Yeah, so that's what I've turned out to be. I mean, I turned out to be popular with the young kids. The younger kids are all on Instagram. The older guys, my age, they're all on Facebook or
Facebook.
wherever. Yeah,
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 no, I've seen that before. YouTube is kind of everyone. Facebook is the older
yeah,
generation. TikTok is the sproglings, the little kids, and
yeah.
then Instagram is sort of more millennials, and I guess it's a bit more of a mixed
Yes,
bag. But
yeah.
for sure, when I saw that you had Seafluencer in your title, that really caught my attention. It made me laugh. But the other question I was about to ask, you said you tried to quit sailing. What, like it's some sort of bad habit, like smoking?
No, I wanted to do better. I wanted to do something else, more. Okay, the
Right.
first time I quit was I was teaching, and it was fun. I really did enjoy teaching, and I think I will go back to teaching once I retire. But at that time, the proprietor passed away of the college, and for a short period, things. I mean, morale was down, and kids were kind of nobody really knew what was happening, so it lost its charm at that time. So I
Mm.
went back to sailing then. Then 2006, I quit and I took up a show job in Jacksonville, USA. I was working as marine superintendent for this company. It took me 6 months to figure out I'm not really designed to sit in a chair. So, I mean, I could not sit and answer phones and emails all day long. So
Yeah.
I went back to sailing then. And then I quit again in 2009. And I quit to build and drive race cars. That was a childhood dream. And I did very well for 3 years. And then the motorsport scene in India went belly up because one, the F1 pulled out of India, and
Oh
two, there was a
yeah.
fatal accident. There was a fatal accident on one of the national racing scenes. And after that, there were no motorsport permissions given by the cops anywhere across India for an extended period of time. Anyway, once that scene went belly up, I went back to sailing. By that time, all my kids were sitting in office. So I was suddenly in a position where nobody really told me what to do, and I could get whatever I want. I actually did start having fun.
Yeah. Well, it's a very varied career. It went from ship to teach, to ship to race car, back to ship, right?
Yeah.
In a
And I
nutshell.
did good. I did good with the race cars.
But
In
what
the
was the
sense,
incident?
2000, the incident was during the Indian National Rally Championship. The track is supposed to be barred off, no traffic on the track. There
Hmm.
was a two-wheeler who was not supposed to be there who came onto the track, and one of the drivers went straight into him full speed. The guy died. That was not the worst part of the incident. The driver
The driver fled.
ran, fled. That really put a spanner in the works.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
where is it? Where is it you're calling from in India? Whereabouts are you based?
In the suburbs of New Delhi, place called Noida.
New Delhi. Oh wow, it's like
Yeah.
one of the hottest places in India, isn't it?
Right now, one of the coldest.
Oh really? So you get both extremes.
Yeah. It's 2 degrees right now.
Oh wow.
I
Okay.
mean, you're worse off.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
probably. Although it isn't that bad today. Today
Yeah.
it is 2 degrees. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
so you've had this long varied career. How is it that you started sailing? So we'll go back a little bit. Before '89, how did you fall into sailing?
Okay. Now, New Delhi is 1,800 kilometers from the sea.
Yeah.
I had never, ever thought about sailing at all. I was thinking in terms of a career in engineering. Engineering is still my first love. I'm an engineer by heart. And I was preparing for my entrance exams to be an engineer. So during the course of my entrance exams, once I'd completed my schooling before college, I happened to go on vacation to Mumbai to meet one of my cousins. And my cousin was applying to a shipping company for the position of a cadet. And it took me overnight to get brainwashed. And I said, this is it. That's what I want to do. So I just went along with him and asked if they were taking walk-ins. They were. I sat for the entrance test and the interview, and I got selected. And I had never, ever, from a day before that, thought in terms of a career in Merchant Navy.
And now it's something you can't shake.
Yeah. Now it's part of me. That is what I am. And will remain so. Yeah.
So your cousin must take full credit for your online following these days. He's like, if it weren't for me, you wouldn't have that.
Absolutely. He gets it.
But how did you... So the first company was a shipping company that you applied for?
Yes.
And that's literally cargo, freight, all of the big containers, Captain Phillips type of stuff?
Yes.
So it's always been shipping freight. It's never been like, oh, I'd like to try this type of ship.
Not really. Okay. The first ship I did was a car carrier, a pure car carrier. That was a first generation car carrier. The ones which you see now, they have a ramp which comes down from the water and the cars just drive up, drive down. That one was a first generation car carrier where we did not have a ramp. We had something called a car ladder that we were carrying on the main deck right on top. That car ladder was lowered by cranes from on top, taken into the ship side, and then made fast on the ship and lowered down onto the dock. So it was a ramp which we stored on deck. And when we did not have place for the long ramp, there was something called a turntable. So that turntable was again lowered down from the main deck. And then we would heave up chains and wires using capstans all the way up to the main deck. Capstans are the precursor of mooring winches.
Okay, and for those who don't know what a mooring wrench is.
Okay, a mooring winch is what heaves in your ropes and stuff when you're coming alongside or you're taking something in. A capstan is a vertical drum which rotates around a vertical axis. You don't see capstans anymore, or very, very rarely that you see capstans. Okay, so we had capstans, and we used to use capstans to take up ropes and chains and make those fast to the main deck. So this is the side of the ship. You would lower the turntable down, you would bring it up, hook it on to the door, and then you would pass chains and wires from the outside and make them fast to the main deck so that this thing is sitting horizontal this way. And then you would put a ramp down from the side of that. So that was a lot of seamanship on that ship. Yeah. It was good work, good experience.
Well, I guess when the ramp finally came along, you were like, hallelujah.
Yeah, I mean, that was something which we did. And it was like, it is actually a very different work ethos which was there. I mean, things were taken for granted. There is something to be done, it gets done, no matter what. Okay, you run into a problem, you solve it. You don't go about complaining to anybody. You dare not go complaining to anybody about it.
Where are you going to go?
Okay, so it was, no, I mean, even to your superior, you don't go to him with a problem unless you want to make a total fool of yourself. Okay, so the captain pretty much never really hears about any problem whatsoever. If a problem goes to a captain, it's catastrophic. That used to be the scene. Right now, the captain is supposed to be aware of every little thing that goes on.
Sounds like a lot of stress.
Not really. I mean, this is how, over the years, this is how workplace have evolved. I mean, it's an inclusive workplace.
Yeah.
And it's actually better. It's actually better now because you have more eyes, more brains working on the same thing, and you're using years of experience that somebody else may have. Okay. Before that, there was such a strict hierarchy that you would really not go to your superior and say, I don't know what to do. The first thing, you're fucking dumb. That's the answer you're going to get.
No one wants that.
You good for nothing. You good for nothing, piece of junk.
I'm sorry. I should have known. So you started on the car ferries and then you went on to cargo from there?
Yes. My second ship was a self-unloading bulk carrier. And those ships are nasty. I mean, the older self-unloaders, they used to be a lot of work. A lot of work as an actual physical labor, hammering and shoveling and stuff like that. A lot of physical labor. What I got to know on my second ship is people do not want to join these kind of ships because the life there is tough. So because people do not want to come there, the promotions are faster.
Yeah. And that means
so that's when
manual labor?
No, I mean, okay, as you get bumped up, lesser manual labor, yeah. But Not until you're really captain, because the chief officer also slots it out.
Mm.
Okay,
Damn.
and
So,
at times the captain, at times the captain comes and does his bit too.
just to say, like, but also even now as captain, you still pull your weight because you're, is it deadlifting?
Yeah, I mean, I do. Whenever there's a screw up and the guys are working more than normal, I'll do like to pitch in. It's good for morale,
Yeah,
if not anything else.
for sure, for sure.
It keeps the spirits high.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
and the belly fat at bay.
yeah, yeah. And you start hurting in places where you never even knew you had places.
Yeah.
The age does catch up with all of us.
Yeah. Have you yourself had any long-term injuries as a result of the work you've been doing at sea?
No, not really.
Oh, that's good.
I've actually been physical pretty much throughout my life, so I never touch wood. No long-term injuries. Yeah,
That's good. Your first week on board, that was on the car ferry
yeah.
as a new recruit. Let's hear about that.
I mean, okay. I took the car carrier in. You know what a car carrier looks like? Not a car ferry, a car carrier. It's like a 13-story car park.
Yes.
It's just wall-sided and huge. And I'd seen ships come into Mumbai Harbor while I was doing my stuff, and I knew generally what a ship ought to look like. Now, I joined the ship alone in Japan, and the cab put me right next to the ship's gangway, which was midship. And I'm standing there looking at this damn wall right across. And for the life of me, I'm trying to figure out what the fuck is forward and where's aft. I could not figure out forward or aft.
Really? It was that kind of symmetrical on both ends.
No, it was just a giant wall, and I was standing right next to it. It was just this huge wall and nothing else. I was kind of expecting a deck and a superstructure and a forecastle. You don't see those on a car carrier.
Hmm.
Okay, so that was the first incident. The second was pretty much about a week after I joined. We were painting the ship's name on the bows, and a car carrier's bows are flared. They're like pretty much way flared. Okay, so you put a hanging stage down, and then you fast a rope around the ship, and you pull the stage in. So the stage rope is at 30 to 45-degree angle. Okay, pretty much inside. So you go down with a rope ladder onto the stage, and you're doing your painting and stuff like that. 10 o'clock coffee time, we come up, 10:30, time to go back again. I'm there on the stage as a brand new recruit. Nobody asked me if I could swim. Nobody asked me if I wanted to do that. Nobody asked me if I thought it was safe. 10:30, time to go back. And the ladder, which I'd used to come up, is now on the other side because the AVs are going down on that side. And I'm waiting this side. The bosun tells me, "What are you waiting for? Hold the rope and go." I thought he was kidding. So, like, I put one leg over the gunner, pretty sure that he's going to stop me. He never stopped me. So I just held the rope and went.
Wow. And you managed to do it, or you fucked it up royally?
Yes, of course I did. Of course I did. I mean, falling is not an option.
No. But you at least
Yeah.
did you at least get the name of the ship right in your painting, or did you do it really smooth?
Yeah, absolutely. No. You're just supposed to paint over whatever there is. So that's
okay.
no rocket science.
You had your stencil.
But in today's date, you would do a risk assessment. You would ask the office for permission. You would have like flotation vests and fall arresters and harnesses and life buoys and conditions, weather conditions, so much paperwork to fill out before you even thought of doing something like that. At that time, it was just like, hold the rope and go.
Not in the 80s. That would you'd have to get all the paperwork and stuff. Did it get better as you went along, though, or were there other incidents like that?
No, I wouldn't. That was normal. Okay, it is not that he did something to spite me or something. That is something that was expected to be done.
Right.
It was not something out of the ordinary. Everybody would do it. So we have come a very long way from there.
Well, you'd hope.
Yeah. We have actually.
And so, from as you said, going on board in the car ferries to begin with, it was quite quick promotion because no one wanted to be on board. How long after you started did it take till you made it to captain?
Okay, not the car ferries, the self-unloaders, because nobody wanted to go to the self-unloaders.
Sorry,
yeah,
yes.
Okay. Yeah, it took me 11 years to get to be captain. Okay,
Oh,
but I
okay.
got stuck at chief. I got bumped up to chief mate really early, but then I got stuck at chief mate for a long time, and I switched companies in between, so my promotion got delayed by a bit. But I got my command in time.
Yeah. Is there a position that you think, along the journey, was your favourite en route to becoming captain? Because obviously, captain's got to be the favourite,
No, I had always had eyes on the top job.
of course.
I mean, it was always there. Get there as soon as possible.
All or nothing. I like it.
Yeah.
What is something about the life at sea that surprised you, even years after being in the job?
Yes, it does. Because a lot of sailors tend to undersell themselves. A lot of people, because they're out to sea, they are under the impression that they're not really good for anything else. That is because they do not have exposure to the rest of the world. Being out at sea actually makes you skilled in ways where you would not dream possible. You become extremely good working with your hands, any kind of job. You become extremely good mentors, leaders, counselors, stuff like that, because you're the only person that your buddies can turn to. So you get a very stable kind of mindset. You get very good time managers. You get to become extremely good man managers, personnel officers. You're very good with deadlines and asset management and equipment management. Absolutely. And you're actually very, very effective in any kind of industry, no matter what role you're put in, because you've been doing this in a very isolated environment with very limited resources. So when you get more resources, you just get more resourceful.
I get why you're the seafluencer that you are. That's very motivational.
Yeah.
I might get back on board after that.
Yeah.
How does it feel like when you're away from land? Like you've been doing it 35 years, is that right?
36, yeah.
36. So
Yeah.
it's obviously that's one of the reasons why I guess that you wanted to give it up, because you missed being at home with the family. But now you said that they're all in office jobs anyway, so to hell with them. Go back to doing what you love.
Yeah, actually, sir. So how should I put this? The other part about self-unloaders is that they save time in port. What a regular ship would take 3 to 7 days to unload, these ships do in a matter of hours. We kick out bulk cargo at about 5,000 tons an hour. That's really, really fast. So because they save time in port, they make more money in shorter voyages. So most self-unloaders are coasting, and you get very few transocean voyages. So we never did have long sailings. I mean, a week max. That's about it. And my first ship, I did sail for 25 days, 30 days at a time and stuff. But after that, I've always been on self-unload, and it's been a week max at sea. That's it. Yeah. Between ports, that's about the maximum you get. So frequent ports. So I've never really been away at sea too long. And now the communications are so good. I mean, you call up home twice a day, any which ways. Yeah.
That's true. Yeah. My longest crossing was 9 days I had, which was from Nuka Hiva in the Marquesa Islands to Ecuador, Guayaquil. And after a couple of days, we ran out of Guinness because the Irish guests drank it all. And they were furious.
Yeah.
I was like, well, you can't pace yourself. It's your fault.
Yeah.
What's the toughest call that you've had to make as captain?
Okay. This is back in 2016. Okay. It was, I was coming down from Norway to Bremen, and in a shitstorm, Force 11. Okay. Oh. And I had twin engines, and the steering motor on one of my engines went, azipods. And that azipod was swinging free. Again, technical. Okay. So I'd lost steering on one. And with one engine, I could not steer the ship. So for 3 days, I was actually handling the ship like a sailboat to prevent drifting onto the rocks.
Wow. Without any sails, but you were handling it as such.
Yeah. I mean, getting wind on the correct position on the bow and holding her there so that it's easy to hold this position and not any other position, so that she drifts away from the coast.
And how much weight are you carrying? Like gross tonnage with the ship's weight included?
50,000 tons of cargo.
And the ship weighs how much?
The ship weighs about 16,000 tons, so about 66,000 tons.
Okay. But on that? What's the biggest cargo vessel you've captained?
Yeah, about 100,000 tons.
Ah, yeah. So the 16,000 tonner was one of the earlier ships, I'm assuming.
No, this is one of the later ones, but I mean, you don't always go up, up, up. I'm
No.
working on the same ship right now because it's fun.
What, the
And again,
100,000 or the 16,000?
the 50,000 tonner.
50.
50,000, I mean, yeah, 50. So the 50,000 tonner, because nobody else wants to come here on this one. So I'm stuck on this for another year before she gets kicked out of Europe.
And why does no one want to use it? Why does no one want to captain that one?
Because the captain is supposed to do the docking and backing on this one because we don't use tugs.
Right.
And you don't get paid extra for it.
But you like all that. You enjoy and embrace the challenge?
Yeah, I did. I did enjoy it so very much that I'm stuck with it.
You should never enjoy your work too much, Sam. Otherwise, they give you more work. That's it. Give it to Sam. He won't complain.
Exactly. Yeah.
When you're obviously in a stressful situation that requires a calm head, how do you maintain that when everyone else is looking to you for the answers? Is there a process or a mantra that you go through?
Yes. Okay. Everything that has happened until this moment cannot be changed. Okay. So I do not worry about what has already happened. I put that completely out of my mind. This is what I have right now. And where do I go from here? So I have that complete clarity in my head. I'm able to dissociate worrying about the past. And that actually gives me a clear head. Now what to do ahead. So this is one thing which I'm able to do pretty well. So I think that gives me an edge. And this is what I'm teaching my juniors, youngsters as well. I mean, what's done is done, good or bad. Now, what next? That's just about it.
That's a good one. That's a good mentality.
And of course, drills and training, if you like practice and you think about scenarios, you play them realistically, you come out with ideas. So you don't have to think about ideas at that time. You already have a certain set of ways in which you can proceed. And what actually has helped me in life is I'm a voracious reader. I read everything that I come across. Okay. I mean, I really do like to read. So that I think has given me a wider perspective in life, more ideas.
Well, I was going to say, do you think having been a captain for so many years has changed you and helped you to handle pressure in your everyday life more as well?
I think it would. But then again, if you look at company superintendents, both technical and maritime superintendents sitting there, they deal only with problems. So they do see a hell of a lot more problems than ship captains do. Because I'm dealing with just one ship.
Yeah.
Those guys are dealing with 6 or 8 ships each. And then in the office, they're collectively dealing with like 100 ships.
Yeah.
Okay. So they know what's happening and who did what. So they do have a much better outlook. I can read about that.
Maybe I should get a superintendent on Decktails and grill him about the pressures of his life. Do you know any?
The weirdest kind of problem. Oh, yeah, I know plenty, but ones would be willing to talk. I can point you out to some. Yeah.
Well, because they're obviously in the office, they're sat dealing with it remotely, and you're local.
They're not dealing with day-to-day business. They're only dealing with problems.
Okay, definitely going to get one of them on then. Let's get into some semi-technical jargon. How much of the modern ship navigation is technology, and how much of it is, comes down to you and your instincts?
Technology is coming in more and more and affecting pretty much every part of ship operation. But we got to be careful of the pros and cons of the technology. Everything has a plus and minus. You really need to understand the limitations. For example, when I came out to sea, the radar was do not touch. You dare not switch on the radar unless it's bad visibility or the master's going to have you by the balls, actually. Okay. So, and now the radars are supposed to be on all the time, both radars on all the time. Okay. Previously, we actually kept what was called a lookout. You use your eyes to see in case there is any traffic, and you did collision avoidance and everything by sight only.
Now the radars have come in. Definitely it's a help. But along with the radars, now you have AIS, which actually marks out the target and identifies them for you. But if something does not have an AIS, or if it's small enough not to be picked up by the radar, or your radar is not properly tuned, the tuning is done by the officer on the watch. And if you do not see a target on the radar, a lot of times the duty officer will assume there's nothing there. Okay. The actual part of looking out to sea, this has actually happened with me. I have a third mate on the bridge looking at the EGDIS instead of the radar. There's a fishing boat right ahead who does not have an AIS, and he has no clue there's a boat right ahead of him. So, yes, technology is helpful, but if you rely too much on technology without understanding its limitations, then you land up in a soup. Very recently, there was a spate of GPS spoofing incidents in the Red Sea and around Iran and stuff. And a lot of ships, they got zapped. They had no clue how to deal with it when it first happened. And any old timer would have found it like perfectly comfortable to deal with it and carry on. But a lot of young guys, they did not even realize that they were getting spoofed.
What do you mean exactly, spoofed?
The GPS is displaying a position 100 miles from your position, or 30 miles or something like that. And you're suddenly lost. You don't know where you are.
Right, okay. That's what you mean by spoofed. So it's a false reading.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow. Have you had any collisions or anything over the years?
Yeah, as a cadet, I had a collision with a fishing boat once. And that's pretty much the only thing. Okay. Not me personally, but luckily, actually, it's an interesting tale. I'll tell you about it. Strong winds, very good visibility. And the chief mate is on watch, evening time. And the time comes, 6 o'clock, chief mate has to go down for dinner. So the third mate comes and relieves him for half an hour. And the chief mate says, clear visibility, we are going that side. There's nobody around, just that fishing boat there. The third mate says, fine, chief. And he's got it. Chief mate goes down, he has his dinner about 20 minutes, comes up back on the bridge. And the third mate's handed back to the chief officer and says, everything the same as you left it, nothing around except that fishing boat there. And then they start discussing about what the third mate did with his life-saving and firefighting appliances, what maintenance work, some problems that he ran into, and this and that and all that kind of stuff. While talking, they come into the chart room. There's a horizontal window across the length of the chart room. They're standing in the chart room and talking to each other for 10, 15 minutes or so. One of them looks up the window and he sees the fishing boat almost under the bow. It's like, oh, shit. So they run out. The chief mate puts it hard starboard, tells the third mate to call the captain. Third mate calls the captain. Captain is just coming up after his dinner. The captain comes up on the bridge and runs out to the port wing just in time to yell, hard a port. And the boat comes in collision with the stern of the ship. Not a hard collision, a dent on both of them, no rupture. But luckily for us, not a single person on that fishing boat was certified.
That's good.
So we stopped the ship. We offered assistance. We exchanged details and stuff like that and all that. They did not require any assistance. They were able to make it on their own. And nobody was hurt. So we carried on with the passage.
But they didn't give you a discount for any fish.
Absolutely not.
They charged you a premium, if anything.
Yeah, the case did come under full investigation and all that kind of stuff, and that's how we got away with it, that nobody on the fishing boat was certified. But that was a big boo-boo.
Oh, yeah. What about, because I was speaking to somebody else the other week. He does whale watching tours in Alaska, and a big talking point between us was ships colliding with whales at sea when they're migrating, and that when a whale migrates, it basically goes on autopilot. It knows its route, it just goes. It's like it's sleeping whilst it's swimming, so it doesn't know there's a ship. It doesn't see it and move out of the way. It just goes. Have you heard or seen that in your time?
Yes. Okay. Do you know why the northern right whale is called the northern right whale?
The northern right whale.
Yeah.
I don't even know what that's referring to.
That is the most endangered species of whale. Okay?
Right, okay.
Okay, the northern right whale is the most endangered species of whale. It's called the northern right whale because it was the right whale to hunt.
Wow.
It's slow. Okay, it's slow, it's stupid, and it floats when it's dead.
Yeah. So the US has areas that ships have to follow a speed limit, which used to be 10 knots. I think it's come down to 8 knots in certain places. You cannot go more than that during the northern right whale migratory season.
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. And the incident which I have seen is a ship coming into the port of Tampa, container ship coming in. And I was regular in the area, so I'm chummy with the pilots and stuff. So they were talking about this incident where this container ship coming in gave its ETA for a certain date, and then it suddenly lost speed. And it was delayed by 16 hours within a 2 day period. It just couldn't make speed. And for the life of them, they could not figure out why. The ship came into port. It tied up tugs forward and aft. Everything was fine. It is just that the load on the engine was too much. It's not able to make speed, and nobody can figure out why. Okay. She came in all the way into port, into the turning basin. And when she hit astern during the turn, one whale popped up from across the bow. She was carrying that whale stuck across her bow for damn near 2 days.
Wow. And no one knew. No one could pick that up on the radar.
No, you don't see whales on the radar.
No. So it's only above sea level that the radar picks up things on.
Yes.
Right.
And that also good targets, something that can reflect the radar echo back, something like steel.
Yeah. Oh God. 2 days, 16 hours delay, and that was witnessed by the public, I'm assuming.
Yeah. So I mean, they did have a burial for the whale and stuff in Tampa.
Are there ever moments when you stop and think, wow, that's incredible at sea?
Yeah. Yeah. That and down in Australia and stuff, when you're at anchor or you're alongside, you do have whales coming all the way right next to the ship. And up in the Gulf of St. Lawrence, you have pilot whales coming right next to the ship. But most of the other whales, they're smart and they move out of the way when the ship's moving.
Oh, but so you see a pod of whales. You ever seen bubble net feeding?
No, I'm not.
I learned about
I've
that
seen,
recently.
northern right whales, pilot whales, killer whales. That's about what I've seen, yeah.
What about unexplained phenomenons, things that you're kind of like aliens, things of that nature, UFOs? Have you heard of those phenomenons?
No aliens or UFOs, but yeah, ghost stories. They're
Stories.
a favorite at sea. Oh, yeah, they're favorites at sea.
Well, have you got some?
I got plenty, but okay, this is on one of the ships that there was a cadet who's actually right now a stand-up artist, a stand-up comedian. Okay. So this dude started it out. So he was after midnight at night, he was in the pantry making his noodles or ramen or whatever. And he heard a sound, something like somebody's chipping, tick, 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 okay, on deck. And he could hear that only from the pantry and nowhere else. So he went out, he asked somebody, who's chipping out there? There's nobody working. Why is this sound coming and all that kind of stuff? Then he started spreading this around, laying down groundwork for this, that I heard this and there's something fishing and all that kind of stuff. And I was the chief mate. I was the captain at that time. Yeah, I was the captain at that time. The chief mate actually got scared of it. And then in the deck office, he found an old photograph of some gentleman in a suit. I mean, one of those black and white photographs and stuff. He found that and he's concocted a story that this is a guy who owned the ship and he died because of an incident because of the ship and all that kind of stuff. And now his ghost is there knocking around. Okay. And that sound did come from the pantry and nobody could figure out where that sound is coming from. And people actually, more and more people started falling in for his theory about the ghost who goes knocking around at night.
But other people could hear it. It wasn't just one person. Yeah.
Yeah. And you could hear it only from one position and from nowhere else.
Oh, it's creepy. I've never really gone in for that kind of thing, but when everyone else experiences the same phenomenon and no one can find an explanation for it, it just adds fuel to the fire.
It could have just been a loose pipe inside the boat somewhere.
vibrating. Ding, 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 ding.
There you go. There's a rational,
Yeah,
logical
yeah,
explanation.
yeah. That could have been it, but who knows?
Right, here's a good one. Going back to semi-technical sort of jargon, loose jargon questions. What is the one system on a cargo ship that if it failed would instantly become really serious?
Cranes on a regular ship with cranes, the
Yeah.
ramp on a Roro, my conveyor belt on a self unloader, whatever does the actual cargo handling on any ship.
Yeah. I guess that's the most
So
important, isn't it?
that would be the most critical part of it.
So it's not it's less for a cargo, it's less about something whilst you're at sea and more about when
Yeah,
you're in dock.
yeah. Out at sea, it's just the engine and the auxiliary engines. You
But
require power and you require electricity. You need both of them. Yeah.
when you're in
So for
port,
the electric,
you've got a schedule to keep when you're in port. You need to,
yeah,
yeah. What you said,
yes,
like
you do.
5,000 tons in an hour.
Yes.
Oof, yeah. So without the crane doing the heavy lifting, you're fucked.
There's no crane out there. We have a system of conveyor belts that does that.
Right. Yes.
No cranes can handle that kind of load. Yeah.
That's old tech.
Yeah.
But
No, but self unloaders is also old tech. They've been around in the Great Lakes forever.
Mm.
Out at sea, they're not so popular. Yeah.
What about AI and the future of tech in the field? Is there ever going to be like a self-driving cargo ship?
There have actually been trials for autonomous ships. There are a lot of people who are working on autonomous ships, but it does not really seem coming in the very near future. What has already come in is Musk has gotten certification to sail a ship without a chief engineer. So the chief engineer will not be stationed on board ship. He will be remote. I mean, working from home or from his office or something of that sort. And he's there for call and problem solving and stuff. So the first step has already come in that ship is sailing without its chief engineer. They have tried running ships autonomously, and one of them made a voyage within Norway. It was supposed to go from port A to port B and drop anchor at port B when the crew came on, and they would take it alongside, and it grounded. There was another attempt from Japan to Norway. The roadblock which we see now is the reliability of the sensors in the sea environment. It's very different from autonomous driving cars, where you do not have those kind of harsh environment that salt water and wind and spray and stuff can get. Okay,
That's
so
true, yeah.
that's where the roadblock is. But once we have better sensors, it would come in, but it's not coming in anytime soon. And in the end, if a car breaks down, you can send somebody to retrieve it. If a ship breaks down, you cannot send somebody to retrieve it. So the tech, if it comes in, it has to be bulletproof.
Well, what about
It
tugboats?
cannot fail. How far would you send tugboat out at sea to retrieve a ship?
Oh, that's a good question. Well,
100
obviously,
miles, 200 miles, 1,000 miles?
what's the cap, generally speaking?
If you're crossing the Pacific
Oh, yeah.
from Japan to the US, there's nothing in between.
I guess so. Is there
Yeah.
because you're an ambitious, very driven, very determined individual? Is there a type of ship that you would love to try captaining that you haven't already?
Okay. Okay, a cruise ship job is glamorous,
Yeah.
but I'm pretty happy working with my hands. Maybe I would give that a shot if I get a chance, but I don't think I'm going to get a chance at this age.
What are you
Can't
talking
move.
about? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm 55. You can move to a different industry.
Well, I had a guy on last year. He was, I think, 13 years in cargo, and then he went to cruise ships. He's a navigational officer, and
Yeah.
he was so glad he made the change because it was, like you said, more glamorous
Yes.
and less
Had
work.
had I been a navigational officer, I could have gotten a chance. As a captain, no chance. You get locked in when you get to chief officer.
Locked in to your sector.
Yeah, yeah. Because to be a captain, you require a reasonable amount of experience in that trade.
Right.
So until you're chief mate, you can do pretty much any kind of ship that you need to. You can switch in between ships and all. Once you're chief mate, you get locked into that type.
So no going back, and
No regrets. No regrets.
no regrets. Okay.
Yeah.
What's a small mistake that people make that could turn into a big mistake at sea?
Every problem starts with the ambiguity, and every ambiguity ought to be resolved. You have two pieces of equipment showing you different data, which are contradicting each other. Why? You need to understand that. The equipment is telling you something, your eyes or your gut is telling you something else. Why? You need to resolve that. Whenever you have conflicting inputs about anything, you need to resolve and understand why you're getting the conflicting input. It could be anything. I'm giving you a very broad answer. You have a false alarm. Why did it activate? You have anything where nothing should be, or you have something where it's not supposed to be. Any kind of ambiguity is how everything starts. Small things out of place that you miss or you do not take care about to understand completely. That's where the error chain starts. Every error chain starts with something tiny, small.
It's true, yeah. So I appreciate the broad answer for the broad question, but on another topic of ambiguity, how far in advance would you be aware of usually like things like bad weather being a problem?
If you're in the tropics, you know weeks in advance how the weather is going to be, because you have definite weather patterns which take time to develop and move in predictable ways.
Right.
Okay, so it starts with a depression, it starts forming, it starts deepening, then it starts moving. You're expecting it to move in the northern hemisphere, expecting it to move northwest, then turn northeast. You don't know when it's going to recurve, but you know that if it turns, it's going to probably turn in this direction. All right, so you can take avoiding action for weather in the tropics. So the further away you get from the equator, the more unpredictable it becomes. When you go to the North Sea, the weather changes so fast. It's pretty much impossible to predict with any certainty beyond 24 hours. So that's all the notice that you get. Also, if you're coasting in the North Sea, there's not a lot of places where you can run or hide. So you just got to suck it up.
Well, and speaking of places where you can't run and hide, are there specific routes that you know to be notorious for in terms of danger that you actively avoid because of things like piracy?
Yes, there are high-risk piracy areas that you actively avoid. And when you are left with no choice to go through, every good company puts armed guards on board.
I was going to ask you that next. But have you had any encounters with pirates?
The ship ahead of me in the Sulu Sea, there was an attempted boarding on that one, which was abandoned, and I was following that vessel.
The crew abandoned ship and the pirates took charge?
The pirates abandoned the attempt to board because the Philippines Navy raised a clamor.
A clamor?
The ship sent out a distress message that piracy attack, mayday, and all that kind of stuff, attempted boarding such and such position and all that. The Philippine Navy immediately came onto the Navy. They say, the ship's on the way and helicopter in the air, ETA 6 minutes and coming in and all that kind of stuff, hold positions and try to repel boarders. We're going to be there and all that kind of stuff. The pirates abandoned the attempt and went away. Nobody came.
So it was a bogey like call. It was a fake.
No, but the Philippines Navy actually responded brilliantly. I mean, they raised such a ruckus that we're coming, get them, and this and that, and all that kind of stuff. Ships so and so, and helicopter so and so, chopper in the air, and this and that. No, the pirates actually got scared and ran away.
Even though no one was coming.
I mean, they didn't know no one's coming.
Yeah, but hey, we can't divulge too many secrets, otherwise the pirates might start getting a bit more courageous.
No, but the Philippines Navy at that time was actually bombing these boats.
Oh, really?
Yes, they were actually bombing these boats, and they'd given permission to Malaysian and Indonesian authorities to follow pirates into Philippine waters.
So, well, yeah, protect their homeland, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, If you are chasing pirates and he leaves your country's territorial waters, comes into Philippine waters, you have our permission to chase them in and attack them in our waters.
Yeah.
That actually put a plug in it.
But sticking with the theme of pirates, you've never actually been boarded by them or had any close calls?
No, none whatsoever. A close friend of mine was held hostage for 10 months.
Oh, damn.
Yeah.
What happened there? How was he? Like a Captain Phillips type situation?
Yes. The entire crew was taken hostage. He was among them. And they were held hostage for 10 months before the ransom was paid and they were released.
10 months. So they lived on the cargo ship with the captain and the crew, and they kept them under, imprisonment, essentially?
Yes.
Wow. You think after 10 months they'd have formed some kind of bond? What's the...
Stockholm Syndrome, no.
Stockholm Syndrome, yeah. None of that.
No, because as the months kept passing by and the negotiations would not end, the pirates got more and more irritable. They ran out of fuel, they ran out of food, they ran out of water. They were given like stale bread and water only to eat, sometimes nothing at all. And then once the pirates would get frustrated, they would beat the crew pretty badly because your company is not paying up, you're fucking worthless and stuff. It was harrowing.
Mm. But how was it resolved in the end? Other than
they paid the ransom.
The ransom was paid, and the transfer, or they left the ship.
Yeah,
and fled.
Yeah, the ship was anchored in Somalia.
Oh wow! So they boarded it right next to home.
No, they took it to Somalia. They boarded the ship at sea and took it to Somalia.
Oh, I see. Right. So where it was docked in Somalia was kind of like just protected.
It was not docked; it was anchored offshore, and it was under the militia, that area.
So, yeah, very difficult to intervene. Well, so your friend is okay, though, right?
Yeah. He's actually the head of ISWAN in India now, the Seafarers Welfare Organization.
Oh, okay. So he's looking out for the interests and welfare of people to make sure this kind of thing doesn't happen again. And
yes, and to assist seafarers worldwide.
How was that incident initiated? Like how does a crew board a ship? As you said, if you're going into waters where it's likely of threat, you would have armed guards. But I'm assuming your friend didn't have that on board.
No, these guys were passing 200 miles offshore. They never expected that pirates would get that far out.
Right. So it was by chance.
And they did.
Yeah.
Yes, by chance. Yeah.
Even 200 miles is like, a fair journey back home to
it is.
Somali waters. And these are small boats that they're carrying their little pirate band on.
They have motherships and small boats. They have motherships that launch the small boats. The small boats would not have fuel for 200 miles.
Mm. So that's what they have the mothership for. What just came to mind is strange cargo. When I spoke to the pirate, Anthony Cummins, he mentioned that the strangest thing he ever had to smuggle was a shitload of camels. Yeah. And he broke the record. He broke the record at the time for the most camels smuggled or transported. So what has been some of the strangest or weirdest cargo that you've ever transported?
Okay, nothing really weird, except there was one cargo of cattle feed which would not go. Okay, in the sense self-unloaders, cattle feed. Regular cattle feed.
Yeah.
Okay. Except that self-unloaders rely on gravity in hoppers to get the cargo to fall onto the conveyor belt. This cargo would not go. It just wouldn't go. Wouldn't go in the sense self-unloaders rely on gravity. You open the hopper gates at the bottom of the hold, and the cargo is supposed to fall by gravity onto the conveyor belt.
Mm.
You open the hopper gates and nothing comes out.
Because the load was too light?
It was sticky as cattle feed. It just wouldn't move. Okay, it's like you have a sack, you turn it upside down, and nothing's coming out of the sack. And now you got to try and shake the damn sack and poke it and stuff it, and still nothing's coming out. And it takes weeks on end just trying to get that damn thing out. That's just about it.
Wow. Okay. Lesson learned there. They might need to readjust their processes for cattle feed if that's the case. Oh, I'm assuming they did.
Yeah.
The cattle that got the sticky feed in the end, were they upset that it took too long, or they're kicking their heels?
There's nothing wrong with the feed. It's just that it's not meant for this kind of ship.
Right.
And that was an experiment that went really, really wrong.
What about fuel? Isn't there stuff I read about VLSFO, very
Yes.
low sulfur
Fuel oil.
fuel oil? Thank you. I knew
Yeah.
the last bit just escaped me. But back
Yeah.
in COVID, there was a bunch of experiments with this very low sulfur. It's basically like a rip-off of HFO, heavy fuel oil, but there was
Yeah.
a lot of problems with the genetic makeup of it, and it was like putting contaminated blood into the engine of the ship, right? So if you put contaminated blood into a person, it could give them problems. This VLSFO
Yes.
was causing
Yeah.
problems for ships and making them break down, all of this stuff. Did you come into any contact with any of that sort of thing?
Okay, no, we did not get into any kind of problems. But yes, the problem comes in because the sulfur part of the fuel acts as a lubricant. So when you remove the sulfur, the fuel actually becomes more corrosive. And you require a different kind of lubricant and additional lubrication for the cylinders. So when you switch to VLSFO, you have to change your lubrication system along with it.
That was
And
the
we
thing.
already had everything. Yeah. So we already had this thing in place before we switched to VLSFO.
Was that, I think there was a cargo ship that literally seized up in the middle of a crossing, and it had live cattle on board, and everyone died except for 2 crew. Was it? I think survived.
My God.
I forget the
I
name of the
never
ship.
heard of this.
I forget the name of
I
the ship.
never heard of this.
Yeah,
I should look this up.
Side note, just to expand on what was said there, the Gulf Livestock 1 was a Panamanian registered ship, formerly known as Maersk Waterford, transporting dairy cattle from New Zealand to China. The vessel suffered a total engine failure while sailing directly into the path of a Category 3 typhoon, leading it to drifting without power in 40-foot waves before capsizing. Out of the 43 crew members, mostly from the Philippines, with others from Australia and New Zealand, only 2 survived. Over 5,800 cattle were lost, marking it as one of the worst maritime live export disasters in history. The tragedy highlighted the risks of the live export trade and the use of flags of convenience, like Panama, which often have lower safety regulations. The incident prompted New Zealand to temporarily halt and later phase out the export of livestock by sea. Reports have suggested a combination of factors, including severe weather, engine failure, and crew decisions in managing the ship during the storm. End of side note. Would you say that sailors are still superstitious, or is that mostly just a myth?
No, sailors are still superstitious.
What sort of superstitions do they mostly have or share?
Different cultures, different beliefs, and different kinks that everybody has. Okay. I, for myself, before every arrival or departure, I need to shower.
Before every arrival and departure?
Cold shower.
Cold
Okay.
shower.
I mean, yeah. Gets me fresh. Okay. That's something which I have as a routine or whatever you want to call it, superstition.
Yeah.
I know there's a pot of garlic hanging in my engine room. I don't know who hung it there, but nobody will take it off.
A what?
A pot of garlic.
A pot of garlic?
A pod of garlic.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
That's to ward off vampires?
I have no clue. But nobody will take it off. Okay. A lot of crew members have pictures of their guards or whatever put onto the cabin bulkhead above their desk, basically, generally. And the guy goes home, leaves the picture there, and the next guy never takes it off.
Doesn't want to anger another god.
Yeah, exactly. And it doesn't matter what. So you have cabins where you have a quote from the Quran, 2 Hindu gods, and Jesus Christ, and maybe a Persian god, Zarathustra. I mean, all in a line.
Yeah. So you add to the deities rather
Exactly.
and replace that one.
Nobody replaces. They just add to it. Nobody takes anything off.
Yeah. I like that. Though.
Okay.
Quite a collage.
Yeah. Yeah, quite a collage. So you have a little something out there, and people just like let it be. Okay, don't touch something that works. If it worked for the previous guy, it's gonna work for me.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
he left safe and sound, so this obviously must have helped.
yeah,
What I don't want to mess with it. That's just about it. Okay. If there's something you don't understand, you don't mess with it. And then there are certain routines for certain people that they always follow. And it just helps and they keep to it. There are still some people who believe you should not whistle on the bridge because it invites bad weather. Yeah.
Oh, I've heard that. Yeah.
Yeah.
No whistling.
No whistling on the bridge because it invites bad weather. So you can sing all you want, but you can't whistle.
Do you remember the first animated cartoon with Mickey Mouse, Steamboat Willie?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
What was he doing?
He was whistling all through but he was making the vessel. He was not sailing it.
Well, he was steering, wasn't he?
Yeah.
What's the most common or annoying question that people ask you when they hear you're a captain?
One, you must be getting a lot of seafood to eat. That's the general listing. Okay. And then after a couple of drinks comes to it, so you have a wife at every port.
Which obviously you don't. You're a married man with kids and you'll be on that bullshit.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it is another stereotype that,
yes.
It isn't helped by the behaviors of certain nationalities of captains. I want to say Italians. But
it's not limited to Italian captains.
No, it's definitely
it's not limited. I mean, you don't have to be a seaman. You just have to be Italian.
It's they get a bad rep. Exactly. The hand gesture for the audio listeners is coming out.
33 Trentini entrarono a 32 trotterando.
What about moments on board where you thought this could be it? The shit has hit the fan.
Yeah, it is among that time when I told you about that steering motor.
Okay.
And head into the seas, and I would see my bow dip underwater and wait for it to come up, and slowly it would come back up. I was like, okay.
We're not going down just yet.
Yeah.
Well, because you said it was a gale force 11, which is one off the top. So
it's hurricane force.
What separates a gale force 11 to the top being a 12? And
it's hurricane force. Nothing goes over 12.
Nothing has ever breached 12.
Yeah.
What's something that happens at sea regularly that would shock most people on land? Dare you say?
A lot of times, maybe not so much now because communication is so much better. Okay. But in the earlier days, you would find that sailors would actually lose their conversation skills. Okay. So you go out to sea, you come back from sea, and suddenly you forget how to carry a conversation.
Because they've been just working, grafting, grinding, not really speaking.
And you're in multinational crew and you have functional conversations and not too much small talk and stuff like that. And you've spent 9 months on board ship with a certain group of people and you know everything about them already. So there's nothing left to talk about. It's a very close. Yeah. Okay. So you come back home and you suddenly don't know how to speak to your wife or your kids.
It kind of comes back to what you said earlier about the crew not being able to sell themselves.
Yes.
That kind of ties in with that.
Yes, it does. It's much better now because you have such good communication that you're pretty much speaking home at least daily in most cases. Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. Is there a side of the job most companies would rather the public didn't think about?
Yes. Okay. There are work hour issues on pretty much every ship. You are supposed to get a 10-hour rest in a 24-hour period. Supposed to. And most ships, when they're doing quick ports, are not able to make that. And nobody really has a solution to it. So this is something which actually does take place. You fudge the rest hours. You do get compensatory rest later on and stuff like that. But a lot of ships are running with tired crew who are not complaining.
Yeah.
Who are complaining to themselves, but not really carrying it up the chain.
But this is the problem, obviously, because who's going to come in to replace these guys? They're there, they have to do the job. No one else is going to relieve them.
Exactly. So it's not like the airline industry where a pilot has a certain set amount of hours that he can fly. And if he goes beyond those work hours, then doesn't matter if the flight gets delayed, this pilot cannot fly.
Yeah. It's a completely different industry.
Yes, but that's something which we need for the ships. I mean, if the crew don't have the rest hours, the ship does not sail. Or she does not sail out. She leaves port and goes to anchor, vacates the berth for the next ship, but she waits until the guys are rested. That should come in, and I'm trying to push for that in various sections, but let's see how it goes.
What would you say is the most dangerous misconception that the public or people have about modern cargo ships?
That there's safe spaces to work in?
That's a given, right? Yeah. Okay.
No, a lot of people do not a lot of newcomers do not understand the real danger out at sea. The real danger is that you do not have any assistance coming in from outside. You're there on your own. That actually is the biggest danger. So if you hurt yourself or you get sick, you're there on your own. Okay. If something breaks down, you got to fix it by yourself. The funny story, this is pre-GPS days. We received a Mayday call on the car carrier, my first ship. We received a Mayday call, like Mayday, Mayday, Mayday. And so we called back that vessel calling, who's calling. And they said they're north of the Cayman Islands and they've run out of water. Husband and wife on a sailboat. We were transiting south of the Cayman Islands. So the captain came up, captain asked them, are you on a handheld VHF or are you on a big VHF? They said a handheld VHF. Captain says, you cannot be north of the Cayman Islands, otherwise I would not feed you. You're definitely south of the Cayman Islands somewhere. And do you have rockets on board? So they said, yeah. He says, well, go ahead, fire a rocket in the air. If I can hear you, I should be able to see the rocket. They said, oh no, we're saving that for the night. Captain says, I won't be here. We won't be here tonight. So go ahead and fire that rocket. And sure enough, they were off the bow, just in front, about 12 miles off. We saw the rocket nicely. We went in there and...
we're saving that for the night. Sorry. Just like what?
Yeah.
So it's a romantic mood lighting.
Okay, we went in there, we stopped the ship, we gave them a line, the boat came alongside and we opened the side pilot door on the side and all that kind of stuff. We lowered food and water onto their boat. We told them exactly their position on the chart. This is where you guys are and this is where you need to do to get to land. And they were like, yeah, okay, thanks so much. Do you guys have chocolates? We can pay for them.
You don't ask, you don't get.
And it's like, we stopped the damn ship for you.
Yeah, you're asking too much now.
Yeah.
Okay.
I know it's
before
like
you go.
it would have been okay if they would have. Do you have any chocolates? That would have been fine. We can pay for them. That is what actually got the captain's goat.
Oh yeah, because I expect them to be given over free and willingly is not appropriate. You've been doing cargo for some time. You've never been unloading and then all of a sudden people have come out smuggled. But you've heard of that obviously happening.
Yes. Happened to a lot of friends of mine. I've read a lot about that. A lot of incidents.
So this is people fleeing desperately one country, trying to get to a place of safety.
Maybe that, or maybe going smuggling in for better opportunities, or most of the migrants are for economical reasons, not for safety reasons.
Most of them.
They think they can make a better life. So they try to get to some civilized nation.
Have you heard of any situations where they've opened a shipping container and the inhabitants of said container were no longer of the living?
They would not open shipping containers on board ship. Containers would be opened ashore.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, I've heard of guys being in the rudder trunk of a ship. Okay,
a trunk.
They climbed onto the rudder of the ship, and there's a little space between the rudder and the stuff. Okay, so there is a little cavity in which you can come up. So these guys came up there, and they tied themselves up to this thing so that because the water comes up halfway. So they did not want to get washed out of the water. So they tied themselves up to the frames, one arm each or something of that sort, and they pretty much drowned in there. They could not get out.
Oh.
And they'd been there for a long, long time before that space was opened. A long, long time.
Oh dear, that's grim. Well, that was
Yeah.
that was the cavity where the anchor gets pulled up.
No, that's right at the stern, just behind the propeller.
Oh, that sort of. So there's.
So you have the rudder. You have a stalk that turns the rudder.
Yeah.
Okay, so you have a little space between the rudder and the steering gear on top, which is a seal from above. The only way to get in and out of the space is from below, from the seaside.
How do you even get up there?
By a boat.
So they would have had to have gotten a boat to go under the vessel and then go up a rope ladder or something?
No, just like climb up.
Well, what kind of pilot is captaining a boat to do that? That sounds like a death wish.
Somebody who's taken money to do that, who sold them this ship will be going to such and such place and they will take you there and the water will fill in, then the water comes out, then you come out and you can swim to the shore.
Wow. Is that quite common or is that like a one-off?
No, that actually became fairly common. That space became fairly common, and then ships started blocking that place with steel plates, which move along with the rudder stock, so that nobody can really access it from below. Because that was also a favorite space for smuggling.
Oh,
People would put drugs into that space.
Yeah. And what about bomb scares? Would they also be targeted for things of that nature?
Aha, okay. I was on a ship which was doing the Suez Canal during the Saddam Hussein times.
Wow.
And I was carrying cement from either Greece or Turkey to Saudi Arabia.
Right.
Okay, and Saddam Hussein had said that he's going to bomb a cement carrier and block the Suez Canal. And we were carrying 60,000 tons of cement through the Suez.
Wow. How that story escaped your mind, and I had to get it out of you that way. I say the word bomb, and it all comes flooding back.
Yeah. Okay. So every time that we had to cross the Suez Canal, we would first anchor for a day, and just before we were supposed to make the transit, a team of naval divers would come. They would inspect the hull for any kind of explosives. We would have one tug ahead of us, one tug behind us, and military convoys on both sides with anti-aircraft guns. So we used to cross the Suez Canal like a VIP.
Well, yeah. So you're protected on all sides.
Yeah.
Anti-aircraft and what was it you said?
Tugboats forward and aft. In case something happens to the ship, they would drag it to the side immediately.
And you had armed guards on board, I'm assuming, as well?
No.
No? The anti-aircraft was enough?
Yeah. Military convoys on both sides.
Yeah.
On the land.
On the land, yeah. Well, that's... Saddam never succeeded because the last time I checked, the Suez hasn't been cemented over.
Yeah, but that used to be VIP crossings.
Oh, how the other half live. That's mad. A dictator says something like that, and then obviously everyone's on high alert because it might happen, right? It could well come to fruition. So your preparations need to be, tip top to ensure nothing bad happens. And of course, if he was successful, if the cement did embed itself in the Suez Canal and that passageway becomes impassable, the repercussions, man. I mean, so much cargo goes through there. We saw with
7 days. 7 days that Evergreen ship blocked the canal, and it was backed up for weeks, for months.
Yeah, it's a problem that needs to be addressed immediately because the repercussions are devastating to anyone who needs food, this, that, or the other. Maybe
absolutely.
Maybe if you'll just bring in cement, people can go a little bit of time without it. So we'll wait to lay our foundations a little bit longer. It's okay. Yeah. No one was getting upset with you lot because you were taking the extra time. You made your deliveries at the end.
Yeah.
I've got a couple questions left, just a couple. But before I ask them, is there any other stories that you can think of that you would like to share?
Okay. Fun stories? No, not so many. None really come to mind offhand. unless I get a trigger. There's so many damn stories.
I know, and
Yeah.
you do share a lot of stories on your Instagram, and I do like listening to them. They're some of them very serious things that you do draw attention to. What sort of crew welfare or man overboard type situations would you like to weigh in on that?
Basically, that's what I already put across, that people think that the sea is a safe place, but in the end, you cannot compete with nature. I mean, in the end, Mother Nature is far superior than anything man can do. Okay. So you, in the end, have to just lay back and be prepared. Just do the best you can. It is a dynamic environment. It is a dangerous environment. And to be working there, you are doing something which is, I would say, not very different from a police officer or a firefighter. I mean, okay, yeah, you have your days rescuing cats from trees, but in the end, if there's a house on fire, you know you have to go in. So you have to have that kind of a mindset.
Always be prepared.
Actually,
and you said you're going back to sea in 10 days. So this call was scheduled quite quickly. Do you know where you're going next and what you'll be carrying and how long you'll be away?
Yeah, I'm going just for 2 months. I'm going to be back in March. And until the end of 26, I'm going back to the same ship over and over again. And end of 26, I mean, in 27, I change my vessel.
Oh, okay.
So that's what the current plan is.
Yeah. Well, hopefully this episode will be out before 2027. But any technical issues come my way, I have to try to figure them out as we go. What's the hardest conversation you've had to have with a crew member at sea?
Okay. One type of conversation is when I'm going to fire him.
Yeah.
The other type, actually the harder type of conversation, is when I get news of somebody at home's demise. That has happened several times. Okay.
And they're not able to just go home.
Exactly. Okay. And in today's date, what happens is the guy comes to know before the company does, because he's on WhatsApp. Okay. So his home will directly tell him. And then he comes and tells me, and then how to handle that conversation and situation. Because every person reacts very, very differently. So you have to be extremely sensitive in this kind of situations.
Yeah.
So that, I'll say, is one of the hard parts of being a captain.
Yeah. Well, if somebody comes to you and says, this has happened to my family or something terrible, he's found out about it before you because of WhatsApp and social media.
Yeah.
What's your next step? Do you immediately try to find a replacement for him so he can get home at the next port?
First is what kind of immediate help that you need that we can get to your family.
Right.
Okay. I mean, because it's going to take time for you to get back home. What do you need? What does your family need right now? What can we do for them right away? That is the first thing. Who's at home? Who's with your wife? Who's with your kids? Okay. Do you have some kind of help? Can we get somebody there? Okay. Then the process starts of how to get you back home as soon as possible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you ever put someone else's safety ahead of your own at sea?
Funny story.
funny how I'm getting these triggers into you just before the end.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. My first ship as a chief mate, we had a ship with derricks. We don't see derricks anymore. Okay. It's a DERRICK.
Right. Okay.
A derrick is the precursor to the crane.
Oh, okay.
Before you had cranes, you had derricks.
Right. Thank you.
Okay. So you had a vertical post. Yeah. You had a vertical post and a horizontal post, and you had wires all over the place to move these damn things around. So we needed to put a block on top of the derrick. On the standing post is called the Samson's post, like the Samson's pillars. And I had an OS on board, young guy. Okay. I think on his second ship or something.
An OS?
Ordinary seaman.
Okay.
A young guy, ordinary seaman. And this Samson Post. This is about 80 feet tall, okay? And about 4 feet in diameter. It's just a vertical cylinder.
Yeah.
Very, very tall. So Aman goes up the Samson Post, and 10 o'clock, the bosun comes and tells me, this guy's gone up, he's not coming down. And I said, what do you mean he's not coming down? He's not coming down. The ship did not have a bosun, okay? It had just 3 ABs, OS, and a trainee OS. So the AB comes and told me that this guy's not coming down. And I'm like, what? He's just not coming down. So I went up. And this guy's sitting down there, holding onto the railing, eyes closed, and just like crouched on like, I am not going to go down. He's just holding on tight to the damn railing and not moving at all.
Vertigo.
Yeah. Okay. He is stuck hard, not going down. So he already had a harness on, which was clipped on and stuff like that. I lowered this thing. I got a safety line and stuff. Said, you're going to go down the ladder. I'm going to lower you on the line. I'm going to make sure that you cannot fall, but you have to go down. And the guy was like, no. And I tried to reason with him, like, what the hell are you going to eat? And this and that. And I tried joking with him, what the hell, if you want to go pee-pee, you're going to go spraying the entire ship from here or what and stuff. And so I actually like whacked him. I gave him quite a few hard slaps across his face. And I actually caught hold of his collar, says, you don't go down, I'm going to fucking throw you down, man.
The question
that
was
is when he snapped out.
Putting somebody else's safety ahead of your own. You're putting.
I am there.
Yeah, I get it.
I am there standing on top of the Samson Post, trying to shake this guy loose while the damn ship is moving.
Yeah, so you are at risk of falling because this guy is not letting go.
Yeah. So I actually slapped the hell out of this guy, and I got him to go down. After that, he was hiding from me for like about a week.
Can you blame him?
He would not show me his face.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
And I was like, is he okay? Is he like fine and stuff? Yeah, he just doesn't want to come in front of you.
Yeah. Well, did he say thank you at the end, or was he just too scared of you?
Yeah, he did. Eventually, yeah, we had a good laugh about it, but like that was tight.
You gave him a bit of PTSD.
Yeah.
On the way down.
Yeah.
I slap you, I slap you, I slap you. I slapping you silly because you disrespected me.
What advice, Sam, would you give somebody who romanticizes life at sea? Like, what kind of reality check, wake-up call advice would you give that person?
Don't believe everything you see on social media.
Says the seafluencer.
Okay. Says the seafluencer. Okay, there is one fact irrefutable. In 2024, the number of suicides at sea actually went over the number of accident fatalities.
That's terrible.
So it is as much a drain mentally as it is dangerous.
Mm.
Okay, so it does take a very severe toll on the mind, and everybody's not cut out for this kind of a job.
Mm. That is hard facts as well.
Absolutely.
The number of people who took their own lives because the pressures, the workload, everything, it just got to them.
The isolation, because everything gets magnified because of the isolation. You do not have a home to come back to every day. That does take a toll on your mental well-being.
Mm. One other thing I've been aware of, especially during COVID, was that the cruise lines or some of the shipping companies, they said they had these hotlines for people to call if they were feeling mentally overwhelmed.
Yeah.
But it became quite common knowledge that if you called these lines and expressed how you were feeling,
you're suddenly out of a job. Yeah, you're suddenly out of a job
because you're a
lot of people think that way. But I mean, it's better to stay alive and be in the same job.
For sure.
I mean, if you're alive, you can do 10 different things. If you're dead, you're dead.
Yeah. So better to call someone if you're in serious problems.
Absolutely. I mean, you do not take that step. You do everything that is humanly possible to avoid taking that step. Yeah. That is not the solution. That is just the start of a shitload of problems for your family. Because if you do commit suicide, you're not covered by insurance. Your family gets nothing. Your life has been a total waste. So do not ever think of taking your own life at all.
Yeah. Good advice. Side note. It's incredibly important that if you are somebody or you know somebody that's struggling with their mental health at sea, that you speak up and do something about it. There is a huge range of different companies and charities out there to help. Just to name a few, but starting with probably the most well known is the Seafarer Help, or iSwan, which runs a 24/7 multilingual and confidential support line. If you're on smaller boats, like yachts for example, there is also a 24/7 specialised support line. Just search for Yacht Crew Help. For crisis response and chaplaincy, there's the Sailors Society. Mission to Seafarers offer port-based welfare support. Stella Maris, pastoral and welfare support. Seamen's Church Institute, crisis and welfare. ITF Seafarers, rights and emergency cases. As I said, there's a lot out there, so if none of those apply, then just have a quick Google search and I'm sure you'll find someone that can help. End of side note. What has the ocean taught you, my friend, that you never would have learned in any other job?
It actually has taught me how small and insignificant I am in the grand scheme of things.
Sure.
Okay. I mean, you get time to contemplate when you're on watch in the bridge at night. There's not so much traffic and all that kind of stuff. You do get time to contemplate, to think with clarity and to meditate. And you do realize a lot of times that you can try all you might, but as you say, if you want to make God laugh, you tell him about your plans.
Yeah.
Okay, so we are actually insignificant against higher powers that are there in this world, which we will never truly understand.
It's very true. Very true. And if you were to eventually leave the ship life behind, if you decide you need to quit this filthy habit and get yourself a nicotine patch equivalent of a ship on your arm, what would you miss the most about shipping?
The independence.
The independence.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Okay. There was this function where a shore-based function where people were not seafarers, and me and a chief mate of mine happened to be there at the same time. And somebody asked me, "Oh, so you're captain? So what's next after captain?" My chief mate from the side equipped guard.
God, man had a complex.
No, but that's actually how it is at sea. Okay, on the Iranian ships.
Yeah. The captain is the god.
No, he's not God. He's called Nakhoda. No. This is something which you need to understand. Nakhoda. Okay. Khuda means God. Na means not. Okay. Okay. So in the British ships, the captain's called the old man. In the Indian ships, he's called the Buddha, which is old man. On the Iranian ships, he's called the Nakhuda, which means not God, not less than God.
Whoa. How funny. Everyone's got a different title that they impose on the captain. Old man, old man, old man. God, not God, but like him.
Yeah, not God, not less than God.
Not less than. Yeah. Well, going from, feeling insignificant to feeling like you're the top head honcho cat's pajamas.
No. Independent in decision, because whatever decision you make on the spot, the company always stands behind you.
It's good, though, that the company back you and, your decisions are final. They obviously put you in charge for a reason, so they're not going to go over your head. Do you ever get given orders from the corporate side of things where they're like, you have to do this, you have to do that, otherwise we're going to have egg on our face, we're going to be in trouble, like extra pressure from them? Yeah?
Yes. So you do get extra pressure a lot of times, and you decide when you need to push back. Yeah. So that does happen. And when required, you do push back.
Otherwise, there could be problems and you need to tell them what those issues are.
Exactly. There have been cases when we've had a problem on a ship and stuff like that. Everybody's been working like non-stop for a long time and all. And then I'll say like, okay, that's it. Everybody goes to sleep for 6 hours. Okay, that's it. And I call up the company and says, nobody calls 6 hours. We're gone. Not going to respond. The superintendent calls me back after 4 hours. It's been 4 hours. You should. So I tell him like, listen, do you want an accident on your hands? Then you're going to be in much worse soup than you are now. So just let the guys get proper rest and we'll come back to this. 2 hours in the grand scheme of things does not make so much of a difference. Just let it be.
Let it be. Yeah. Well, on that note, I have to say, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you, Captain. I've really enjoyed it. And I'm sure we could talk for much longer, but the time has come. We have to say our goodbyes. So thank you so much for being a guest on the show. And I wish you all the best of luck with your seafluencing and your captaining for the next contract.
Thank you so very much, Sam. It's been a pleasure. And to all your audience, you're wonderful.
Thank you so much. Bon voyage, my friend. Take care. We'll speak again. Remind yourself before we get cut off to send over a superintendent or somebody that I could speak to as well.
Yeah.
Because that would be great. I'd love to hear from one of those guys.
Yeah, I'll give you an Insta ID. It's Captain Sins. Like Johnny Sins.
Yeah. What? Johnny Sins?
Yeah, that's why he's Captain Sins. How do you know Johnny Sins?
I don't know Johnny Sins. Oh, wait, I shouldn't.
Of course you know Johnny Sins. Of course you know Johnny Sins.
Is he... We're going to get cut off, but I think I know, and I don't want to say.
Yeah, you know him.
We're going to get cut. We're going to get cut. So there you have it. That wraps it up for this episode of Deck Tales. I hope you enjoyed it. If you've been entertained by the tales of laughter, camaraderie and the occasional stormy sea, then don't forget to like, subscribe and leave a comment. There are lots of other shows out there to compete with, so if you are enjoying Deck Tales, why not help us out by going over to Spotify or Apple and dropping us a 5-star rating. This will boost the show's visibility and help to attract new listeners every week. Before I sign off, if you'd like to share your own stories for future episodes, then I'd love to hear from you. Simply get in touch over the socials, because after all, the best stories often come from our listeners. As we navigate through the waters of life, remember to enjoy the journey as much as the destination, as well as those you choose to share the adventure with. I've been your Captain Sammy Catlin. Until next time, fair winds, smooth sailing, and may your adventures be as unforgettable as those shared here on Deck Tales. Bon voyage!